Hey! This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself, I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome on in. It's another edition of JJ and Alex right here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Curie, Jeremiah Jensen. That's the JJ portion of the JJ and Alex. We're just we're throwing JJ into the fire here. We're doing a baptism by fire on these shows at the Mountain America Expo Center. It was the boat show a couple of weeks ago, and now we're at I'd have to say this is my favorite one. The RV show at Mountain America Expo Center. We're staring a 40-foot toy hauler right in the face here. Like, these get bigger and bigger. They get more amazing. They have become homes on wheels. Here's the thing. I appreciate this because I'm going to have to help my kids buy a home one day, and this is going to be it.
There's no way your kids are actually going to be able to own a home 10 years from now.
That's what I'm saying.
So just buy them a $75,000 RV.
Yes. And
finance it for 8%.
Here's the deal. No, you don't want to do that.
What are the rates going to be then?
Here's the deal. You come to a place like this at the show, they have special financing. That's the whole deal. You come here, there's no excuse. You got to roll in here and you got to make this thing happen. But you see stuff that you never see. They have the newest of the new that can roll out, but they also have insane savings on crazy stuff. Your computer already knows where we're at because you got a pointed RV ad at the top of your ESPN.
I spoke that into this microphone, and boom!
I know,
right there.
That's the way my Instagram.
Can I say
works.
the brand right now? Paris RV,
yeah,
right on my laptop.
Well, they're also right in front of us, so it works out.
$7.95 per month, 10% down.
Boom. You got it.
Isn't that crazy?
So we're going to be chatting with folks from the RV show all day long today, and it's going to be across the board. All the different brands, all the different things you can imagine to buy. And it's not just RV stuff. It's the really fun. It's the accessories, JJ, that really make it cool. I mean, my goodness, you could get an electric bike at the place right next to us, some helmets. You can get some motorcycles. I mean, my heavens. They got it all here. So we'll be talking about it all day. But we have other things to get to. And that giant sigh was over the Utah Jazz, where you and I both talked about it yesterday. Oh, they're going to lose probably pretty big to the Lakers, even without LeBron. That gave you a little hope, but you told me yesterday, you're like, yeah, this is not a situation that's been figured out yet. There's a lot of things that are wrong. I think Will Hardy called it a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
And it is. It's a mess right now. It's not pretty. But this Jazz team, let's jump into the program here and let's get going. Our show is always brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients, no preservatives. The G2G Bar is perfect for anybody who needs a quick, tasty, and nutritious boost. And also Trajan Wealth, but also the RV show, where we are today. And that's how we're going to kick off the cut. So let's jump right to it. Alex, if you will.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is What Made the Cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, JJ, let's talk about, this Lakers matchup last night. And, of course, we're going to get you to a preview of tonight's matchup, a nice back-to-back with the Warriors after going Warriors loss, Lakers loss, Warriors tonight. Give me some hope, JJ.
I can't.
Okay.
Sorry. Look, they just need to get to the All-Star break, take some time away. They'll have a chance to figure some things out when they get back. But here's I'm just going to be straight up with everybody, Alex.
Yeah.
This team's not built to win right now.
Okay.
They're not. The moves that were made at the trade deadline did not make them better. They're playing younger players more minutes, and with that come mistakes, with that come empty possessions, missed opportunities, while the other teams they're playing right now are fighting for a playoff spot. The Lakers are trying to dig out of a hole that they put themselves in. The Warriors are the same way. They want to get in the play-in. They want to make the playoffs. Those teams do not want to miss. The Jazz have incentive not to make the playoffs. In fact, the Jazz have incentive to finish in the bottom 10 in the NBA to keep that pick.
If the Warriors last night would have held on to the 22-point lead that they at one point had, and instead lose to the Clippers in ugly fashion. If they were to let's say they won by 22. Do they bring everybody and make this a game that they want to get an easy one on? Because today it's reported that not one of these veterans, not one of the core of this team is going to miss the second half of a back-to-back, a road back-to-back. They're all looking at each other going, this was a moment where they probably sat down in the locker room last night and went, not good enough. This is insane. We have Steph Curry on a shooting streak that is historic and is being forgotten because you have bad play by a lot of the folks who are around him. I mean, you lose a 22-point lead. So the Warriors team that's coming to Salt Lake tonight is hungry and beat the Jazz by double digits. Oh, what was it on Monday?
22 points.
It was 22 points.
Yeah.
And then they lose last night by 16 to the Lakers, and it could have been more. I mean, it was – so it's a team that's coming in very motivated tonight. It's a team that was super frustrated last night. And that's not a good combination for a young team who's trying to get their wits about them. There's a handful of things that I could be very, very critical with the Jazz on right now, but I'm not really interested in the critique part because I think that, the reality is that when Locke told us yesterday, look, they're going to be better after the All-Star break, and a lot of it's going to have to do with the schedule that they play.
Charlotte to start. Yeah, that helps.
But also, I would imagine that these guys will all have a little bit of a reset, and I don't know. For the long term, is this how the rest of the season is going to go? Because you told me yesterday this is a team that's going to lose a lot of games over the next little while.
Yeah, I think so. I just think, like I said, they're not built to win at the rate that they were winning before. And even if you look back at that run where they won, 14 of 18?
Yeah.
16 of 20?
Yeah.
That got a lot of us excited thinking that this team belongs in a play-in situation, and maybe they could climb up to 7-6 maybe and avoid the play-in, but those days are long gone. That team, benefited from a lot of luck. They didn't have to face Damian Lillard in Milwaukee. They didn't have to face Joel Embiid in Philadelphia. I could go on and on about games where they played teams that were less than full strength.
Sure.
They took advantage of it. Give them credit for that. They racked up some wins. I don't think the Jazz were as good as they were during that stretch, and I don't think they're as bad as they are right now. But they are in a stretch right now where they were shaking a little bit. The rotations are out of whack. Look, when you're trying to build a team during a season, why do you have training camp? Why do you have training camp?
Oh, okay. Let me get this one. Is it so that they can gel?
Yeah, I made you say gel. I hate
it.
Yes.
I hate the gel
so much. You come to camp. You are together, multiple practices per day. Everyone's here together, focused on getting right and getting ready for a season where you don't have to go out and play every night, where you're practicing every day. You're figuring out how everything works together. So what happens at a trade deadline when you trade multiple guys in the rotation? You're starting over.
You're right.
Because all of that goes out the window because the starting lineup isn't the same. The rotation's not the same. The guys coming off the bench aren't the same. You have to figure all these things out on the fly with little practice. And while you're introducing somebody new, or you're bringing in a young player who was playing in the G League and now he's expected to have rotation minutes. Let's look at Taylor Hendricks. 16 minutes last night. 16.
Yep.
Taylor Horton-Tucker was not in the rotation, and now he's back in the rotation playing 16 minutes a game off the bench.
Right.
So the team is different, and all of a sudden you have to go through another acclimation process while you're playing other teams that are in prime position, that are in prime shape, that are in prime chemistry. You look at the Lakers now, they're starting to feel good about themselves. They're starting to rack up some wins. The Warriors, before last night's collapse, had won 4 straight games, including a really impressive win over the Jazz on Monday. That's a team that's been playing together forever. This is not one of those things where you're adding a veteran into the mix. This is a situation where you're changed multiple rotation players and replaced a lot of it with youth. And that's a combination that's not going to help you win at the highest level. That's where the Jazz are at right now. It's not because they're trying to lose games. This is just who they are.
Right.
It's impossible to beat a Lakers-Warriors team unless they're having a really off night when this is what you are presenting on the court each and every one of these games.
You know what? I got a new attitude about it. The way you just presented it, I know it's not the way the front office would want to present it, but let's make some T-shirts. Training Camp 2.0. Let's get it going.
Here's the problem, Alex.
You can only wear them for the next 2 weeks.
I love it.
All-Star break, and then the camp's over,
By the time camp ends, the season's over.
I know, that's the point.
How many? I mean, we have like 2 months left of the season.
Yeah,
or less.
I don't know. The good news is this: you're going to see this team come together on nights and figure some things out. There are moments in the game, right, where they do figure things out. There are moments. You know, I'm trying to think what the actual time stamps were on when these were happening. But I'm watching the game last night, and there were some crucial moments, right? And usually those are runs in basketball, right? So that run that the Jazz gave up after Taylor Hendricks hit. When I say he just hit the backboard only on that three-pointer.
He missed terribly. Yes.
Like a church ball three, right?
Right.
It turned into a quick transition points that turned into more transition points that turned into 3 more bad turnovers in a row that turned into a 17-2 run in the middle of the third quarter.
Boom, just like that.
They were up by 4 with like 2 minutes into the third quarter. Now, this has happened in all of 3 of these losses that they've had so far with this new makeup of the team after the deadline, where they get it going, they have some moments, they're pretty close at some point, and then when the end of the third or the end of the third quarter was just abysmal. I mean, it was so bad. They were going to walk out of that third quarter maybe down single digits, but instead it ended up being down. They were down the 16. It was another half, JJ. I wrote this down last night when I was watching it. It was another half that they gave up almost 70. So they're outscored like 70-62 or something like that. Or 70-52 in the second half after they had a pretty decent showing through 2 1/4 quarters. So I looked at that last night, and I saw the different runs, and I was looking to see when somebody was going to kind of take over some of that leadership. And I haven't seen that from Lowry yet, right? He didn't have a phenomenal night.
No, 6 of 15, 2 of 7 from 3, 16 points, 8 rebounds.
John Collins continues to not be very special from the floor, and that's a tough thing. I mean, I say that. I mean, the reality is he's been really bad, shooting the 3 especially.
0 of 3 last night.
I think I was listening to Locke talk about this, and he's 17%. I think over the last 20 games, or 17 games or something like that. 17% from 3. That's when you don't have the green light, right?
Yeah.
That's when you only shoot 3 because that's the amount that you're given before you say you're done. You can't shoot anymore.
Yep.
Now, Taylor Hendricks is a guy that has not learned how to shoot yet in the league, and that's a skill that you have to acquire. And there's something else that happened last night with this Lakers team that I feel like does not matter if you're a good shooting team or not. The amount of energy disparity that there was on the floor at home is unacceptable. That's the kind of stuff that must drive Will Hardy nuts. When you're out there, your team is the one who's not hustling. You're the ones who aren't diving for the rebounds out of bounds. It's the Lakers. And the Lakers without LeBron. You don't get 27.5 from LeBron, last night. You don't get his usual kind of output, and you still have these guys. And Anthony Davis is a pretty special player this year. Like, he's pretty good. He's a pretty darn good basketball
All-star
player this year, all-star. But it's just not one of those times where you look and you go, yeah, but at least get the effort going. But I would imagine that they're pretty tired, right? And I think that emotionally, mentally, they're sort of spent, and I think that it will be really, really good for them to have a break. Unfortunately, it comes after tonight's game against the Warriors.
A lot of what you're saying is right, goes right to my point, that the margin for error in the NBA is slim. And everybody's got talent on the floor. But when your talent is missing shots and allowing easy points in transition and allowing a team to get in rhythm, the other thing is not defending. So Rui Hachimura, 36 points last night. You can't give up 36 points. You can give it up to Anthony Davis. He's going to get his.
Right.
He had 37 and 15 last night. He's an all-star. That's going to happen. But when Rui Hachimura gets 36 and Austin Reeves gets 22, that's a Lakers dub, right? You can't do that. Without LeBron, you can't give up 36 because Rui gave the Lakers the typical kind of production that LeBron probably would have given them.
That's what I'm saying.
In Salt Lake City.
Do you think that they looked and they went, Rory, we're going to need you to step into LeBron's
Boy, did he.
shoes? Like that's not his thing. I think.
And give Rui credit.
That must be his season high, right? Because I'm looking at the rest of his.
It might be a career high.
He's an 11-point-a-game guy for the rest of the year.
Give Rui credit. Had a great game last night, but he needs to give credit to the Jazz defense because it was bad last night.
Right.
Their defense sucks. Okay, you give up 138 at home, and you allow 36 to Rui. Their defense is bad. And a lot of that also is the same thing. You got players in there that aren't committed on that end. So you combine the lack of experience, you combine the youth, you combine the issues with the Jazz right now on the floor, the lack of defense, you've got a recipe for what you saw last night. The margin for error is slim, and when you have those knocks, when you're playing a team like the Lakers that even without LeBron has talent, you're going to lose. And you're going to lose big.
Good news, Steph Curry is not playing very well for the Warriors. He's in a real slump.
Right.
138 points over his last 4 games. 4 free throws made out of 4.
So he's not getting it at the line is what you're saying. He's not going James Harden and getting all his points at the line.
And on top of it, do you want to hear a wild stat? I mean, some of this has just been my prep for tonight doing the pregame show for the Jazz, stepping in for Jake, which I love doing. It's awesome because it just allows me to dive even more into the stuff that we're already going to be talking about. But this Warriors team is, everybody looks at him and goes, boy, you guys are old and busted and you're falling off the cliff. I heard Hanson Scotty talking with the beat writer out of Oakland, and they were being nice about, maybe they're not there yet, but they might be heading toward the possible slide of maybe not being the legendary team anymore. And that's being generous because they are definitely not in that spot. No. They have definitely fallen off. But I'll just tell you that Steph Curry has not. When did he win the MVPs? He definitely won it in 16. He may have won it. I think he won it back-to-back years, 15 and 16. Okay. In
14, 15, and 15, 16.
Yes,
2 times.
Okay, the 2016 season, that 2015-2016 season,
yep.
Prior to the All-Star break, the number of threes that he had made was 240. He has 250 made this year before the All-Star break. That's his MVP season.
Yep.
Now, some of that might end up being because he's having to make up for lack of production by Klay Thompson, who, by the way, we watched that clip today of him walking by Steph. Steph was trying to give him a little boost with a high five. And he was like, I'm not high-fiving you.
He's in a mood. He's in a mood.
I've been like that. My wife tries to give me a high five, and I'm like, nah. Shake her off.
Not having it.
Not right now.
Happy Valentine's Day. You're like, nah.
Nah, I can't do this right now. All right? So I get it, but Steph is still elite, beyond elite.
Yeah.
If you're wondering if he should be in the All-Star game, I look at those numbers and I go, oh, yeah, why is he not a starter this year? And it's because the Warriors are not in the top 2 or 3 seeds where they normally kind of are, or at least that they were in that run up into. Although even in 22, they weren't like the best team.
When the
in the
voting
West.
took place this year, they were an 11th or 12th place team in the West.
Yeah,
so they were struggling.
All of those things put together make it to where tonight is also going to be a struggle. And I think that I've sort of consigned myself to thinking, all right, this is a little bit of a give up situation. Now they won't. These players don't. Will Hardy doesn't go, let's take it easy tonight.
They're going to fight. They're going to play their hardest. They're going to play their best. They're competitors. But it's like anything. When you're going to battle and the other team has more weapons, you better hope they just don't show up that night. Otherwise, you're probably going to come up short. That's where the Jazz are at right now. The other team has more talent. The Warriors, as old as they are now, have more talent than the Jazz right now. They're more cohesive than the Jazz right now. They're more experienced than the Jazz right now. All those things favor the Warriors. So it's tough, even at home, to beat them, and we saw that Monday night.
Jazz versus Warriors tonight. Last night, another loss to the Lakers, but I think Jazz Nation is mostly understanding. I would love to think that they are totally all kind of knowing, yeah, you know what, this is a rebuild. But what's happening now is the thing that last year at the beginning of the year, Locke kept trying to tell us, and that we were understanding it. Oh, this is a rebuild, and it's not going to take 1 or 2 seasons. This is a 3, 4, 5 season situation.
You don't want to think about that.
That's a hard thing because I don't have any foresight
about that.
I have zero patience for anything. And so somebody going, Locke is like, this is more of a 36 to 48 month bill. I'm like, bull. I'm going, what am I supposed to do for the next 36 or 48 months?
Right.
Talk about a team that has nights like last night?
And you're not a season ticket holder. What are you telling the season ticket holders?
I know.
You want to go see great basketball, and right now you're seeing basketball that, let's be honest, is at the NBA level is a little mid.
Yeah.
And they're getting worked by 20 at home.
JJ just the ears of the kids that were listening just now, they all perked up. JJ just said mid. I'm in.
Jazz playoff contenders, that's cap.
Oh, bet. Is that how they do it? My son's like, what are we having for dinner
This
tonight?
Jazz roster is sus.
That's sus. My kid's like, what are we having for dinner tonight? I'm like, burgers. Bet. Huh? What'd you say? Bet. I'm all, did you just burp? I don't know what just happened. Anyway, we got to catch up with the kids these days, JJ.
We're trying our best.
You're getting our show there. So we are at the RV show. This is something that I do. I can for certain tell you what's going to happen at the RV show. We come out here every year, sometimes twice a year, and we get to see some of the coolest rolling out of some of the greatest technology that's coming out in the RV world. The RV business has changed just even over the last 3 or 4 years. They are responding to the customers who are saying, we want an RV, and we got to get there. And we want you to come down all weekend long at the Mountain America Expo Center. If you bring your family down, kids 12 and under are free. You come down, you can get in and just see some of the coolest stuff, the technology that is emerging, plus some of the accessory stuff that doesn't. I mean, it's RV adjacent is what I'll call it. Stuff that isn't even right. Like you can attach it to the RV. It could be in the storage part of the RV to enhance your experience. Ryan Rasmussen is joining us here from Camping World, so we get to chat with some of the vendors that are here. And Ryan, Camping World's been around for a long, long time.
Yes, we have. Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. Yeah. Tell us what's going on at the show. What if people go to the Camping World section of the Expo Center here, which by the way, there's not a square foot that's not occupied. What are they going to find, and what kind of deals can they get?
First, we'll talk about the deals. Come down and find me. Anything we got to do to get you into the RV, we're pretty much going to do. Ridiculous savings, factory rebates, incentives that we're offering just from Camping World alone, and we got some awesome mini footballs.
Oh,
for
hey,
the
there you
kids.
go. I'll have to steal some of those before I leave for the kids.
Scooter Blue for sure.
So you talk about the deals. What are some of the cool things they got going on in the RV business right now? What are some of the things, the bells and whistles that people are going to walk and be like, oh, wow, I got to have that?
Yeah, for sure. Some of my favorites are going to be the auto leveling that is available. Super slick, pull right in, hit one button. Everything's going to auto level. The solar is another huge one. Everyone's asking about that. The trickles charging systems are unbelievable. My other favorite features, we got everything from coaches for couples all the way to families. We got bunk systems that are going to offer bedding for dogs as well. It's kind of a funny way to term it.
Oh, got to have that.
Got to have that.
Bedding for dogs.
I got 2 of them.
You got to bring them.
Gotta.
So
they got to come.
You said coaches for couples. That's the B-Van. That's what we're talking about, right? That's the popular, like, everybody loves a B-Van right now.
Yeah, I'll do the hashtag van life for you. I'll try and be a little more current.
Yeah.
There you go.
Cap. No cap.
No sus here.
So tell me why the B-Van is so popular, because it's blown up over the last couple of years.
Yeah, a lot of it's just the mobility, and you can get into any national or state park without any issues. It's not like the old days where you got a 40-footer and you got to worry about spacing and if they're going to flag you at the gate. The B-Van also is great for off-grid. A lot of that is in tow with going to the dunes, heading into the Uenas, more remote. I find that the B is comfortable. You've been married for 20, 30 years. It's a decent price. You're not having to do a truck and a trailer.
Right.
You're able just to get into something and no miles on it and be cozy.
And the B-Van looks great on the gram.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I see it all the time.
I'm like, what is he speaking?
It's like everybody on Instagram has a B-Van.
Yeah, man. No,
They have these amazing adventures in their B-Van. I'm like, I want to do that.
You do want to do that. If you've never done it before, you got to check it out. And if you've never done the hashtag van life, or just even like been in an RV, walk through some of these units and just go through and go, oh my goodness, 40 feet plus the slide outs. Your life is different on the road than what your parents were doing in the old Winnebago, right?
Absolutely. We would have islands in the kitchen, ceiling fans. It's nuts.
And the thing is, with financing and with the deals you have, it's like you can show people how you can do this. It's possible.
A lot of the units are close to $25,000 under what we normally would sell them just for this event. Camping World in Kaysville is where I'm at. Ask for me by name. I'm Ryan. I appreciate the nice intro.
There you go.
I've filled up the propane for my home on one of my rigs at the Camping World right there, because that's my neck of the woods.
Mine too.
So, all right, Ryan, come down, see the folks at Camping World, and hang out and get the best deals possible at the RV show. We love coming here. It's fun to see all this stuff. Ryan, thanks for hanging out, man. We appreciate it.
Appreciate
Thanks,
you
Ryan.
guys.
Camping World, find them here at the RV show. You can come down Mountain America Expo Center all weekend long. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Ben Anderson going to give us his thoughts on that game last night and tonight's game between the Warriors and the Jazz. So stay right here with us. Our Jazz insider Ben Anderson joining us next, right here 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
All season long and even in the off season, it's Jazz Daily with JJ and Alex on your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it! Basketball.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It is JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone, and of course the Tesh Brothers bringing you back from the break here. Anytime we talk about the Jazz, part of our Jazz Daily commitment to you, talking about the Utah Jazz. We spent the first 20 minutes lamenting the last couple of games, and the third straight loss for the Jazz happens to also be the last three games that they've had as this unit since the trade deadline. Joining us right now on the program, he is one of the hosts, of course, of Jake and Ben. He's the Ben portion of it every day, 10 to noon right here on the KSL Sports Zone. They're going to be at the RV show, I think, tomorrow. Ben, we'll warm the seats up for you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm excited to go out there.
All right, let's jump in because I'm trying to I was listening to you guys do the pre-half and post last night, and not a lot of positives for this team over the last few games, but I do think that there is just this idea of, hey, this team's trying to find themselves. I get the feeling that they're not going to find themselves anytime soon, at least until after the All-Star break.
Well, the truth is I'm not sure this is a team that's designed to find itself. Now, they will improve, and I think Will Hardy will, figure out what rotations he wants to use to make sure that every game is not a 15-point blowout for the final 12 minutes, where you're basically, punting on a fourth of the game and not getting valuable reps for your young players, which is what this whole, last week has been designed to do. At least a big part of it, I think, is to get Taylor Hendricks and get Keontae George and possibly even Bryce Sensabaugh before the end of the season some opportunities to play in high-leverage games. But you don't really do that when you're trailing by 15, 18, 20 going into the fourth quarter, and, when you're giving up 138 points or 129 points like they have over the last three nights. It's just you got to be more competitive to do that. So I think you will still see some improvements, even if it doesn't mean a lot of wins.
Ben, I just read what you wrote today and posted on KSLSports.com. Those of you listening can go do the same, previewing tonight's game and looking back on what happened last night. And the first thing you get into was the defense. Just how bad was the defense last night?
Yeah, they don't have the ability to get stops. And really over the last 13 games, it's pretty shocking how bad the defense has been. And some of it is shot making, which you will run into for opposing teams. But, when you get to a month long, basically that started on January 18th, it has a lot to do with how you're performing and not just other teams randomly getting hot. And so over the last 13 games, opposing teams are scoring 125.5 points per 100 possessions. It's the worst defensive rating in the NBA. And then to break it down, it's kind of maybe a more easily to consume level. They're shooting 51% from the floor and 42% from three. So more than half of every shot goes in, and more than 4 out of every 10 3 goes in for opponents. It's just like you're never going to win if the opponents shoot that well. You're certainly not going to win at any consistent level unless you just happen to be on fire as well. So that's the tough spot for the Utah Jazz, and it's why they're 4-9 in their last 13 games. Now, I do think that can improve because the truth is the guys you gave up, especially Kelly Olynyk, are not great defensive players. But that does mean that, Taylor Hendricks, if he's stepping up and getting a lot of those minutes, he has to stop fouling and has to actually start, helping defensively. And you have to get better improvement from the guys that are on the floor, like Lauri Markkanen and like John Collins, who have both, I think, slipped defensively as of late. So those are areas where the Jazz need to improve. And just by doing that with the veterans, you can have more competitive games.
So tonight, this Warriors-Jazz game has become interesting. This Warriors team has been, really weird this year, obviously. They're in the news for all the wrong reasons with Draymond. of course, with the passing of one of their assistants, less than a month ago, and that makeup game being tonight. I mean, just all the things that have gone on, and then being on this nice little streak. Obviously, they lost last night, but this is a team that they can get ahead and then they relinquish that lead. That's kind of their signature, it seems like, because I think they're one of the teams. I think they might have the most, but they've lost 6 games that they've led by 15 or more this season. That's not a very Steve Kerr type of a number for this team.
No, and it's something that is frustrating. It's usually a pretty fatal flaw. If you can't hold on to leads, which, by the way, is what the Warriors, that's how they built their dynasty. Games would be close in the first half. They would come out notoriously in the first 6 minutes of the third quarter and blitz you, and they'd be up 18, and you would quit. Well, if they blitz you in the third quarter and they're up 18 and they can't hold on to the lead, then suddenly they're not the Golden State Warriors anymore. And they've not been very good at home this season. They are 12-12 at home and 14-14 away from home. 12-12 on the road and 14-14 at home. They're a middle-of-the-road team. It doesn't really matter where they're playing. So that's not a great sign for who they are. We know how talented they are. I would expect them to win tonight. I think they're going to play above 500 basketball in the second half of the season because they figured out Jonathan Kuminga and finally had to use Andrew Wiggins again, who dropped off a lot this season. Clay has to give up a lot of his opportunities because he's just not the Klay Thompson he once was, and Steph can still play at an MVP level. That's good enough to win you most of your games, or at least more games than you lose. So they will finish above 500 this season, but I don't think that's a team that's going to compete for a title because of the things you mentioned, when you can't hold on to leads, when you don't consistently win at home, when you're not unbeatable anywhere, you tend to get beaten, and that's what's happened with the Warriors this season.
Well, for the Jazz, with the moves made after the trade deadline and the recent slide, it just the idea of making the play-in at this point seems a little far-fetched and doesn't seem like it's even in the best interest of them moving forward. And you turn your attention then to the draft, Ben. They've got that pick that could convey to the Oklahoma City Thunder if it's 11 or below, and they're right there. Your thoughts on that pick, and is it to their benefit to keep that pick or convey that pick?
Yeah, I think ideally the best strategy is probably to get the pick this year, have another top 10 pick, whether you want to draft somebody to the roster or use it in a trade package to really improve the roster, qualify next year for the playoffs or the play-in tournament so you convey that pick to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and then it doesn't mess with anything you're doing in 2026 when you have all these draft swap rights with the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Cleveland Cavaliers. So if one of those teams is terrible, you still have your own pick to swap, because if you owe that pick to the Oklahoma City Thunder, it wouldn't matter if the Cavaliers or the Minnesota Timberwolves even ended up with the number 1 pick and won the lottery. You couldn't swap your pick because you don't own it. So you want to make sure that gets paid off, gets paid off either this year or next year. And because you've got 25, 26, 27 games left in the season, it already hurts. You might as well just, sit in this painful spot for another month and a half, 2 months, get the top 10 pick, and then plan on next year paying it off. I think that makes the most sense to me, even if it's not a great draft, even if, you don't think you're going to get a huge difference maker. I think it makes sense to just get that done if you can and see what opportunities present themselves this offseason, whether you really like somebody in the draft that you can draft at 10, or you can package your trade pieces to move up even higher with this top 10 piece you have, or you put it in a trade package. And look, by the time the draft rolls around, teams are going to get antsy. They're going to want to start rebuilds, or they're going to want to add players. And if you had, let's say, the 9th pick, you have the 28th pick, you have the 32nd pick, and you want to throw in either a proven veteran like the Jazz have that they didn't move at the trade deadline, a John Collins or a Jordan Clarkson or a Colin Sexton or whatever, or you want to throw in another young piece, whether that is a Taylor Hendricks or whether that is a Bryce Sensabaugh, that's a pretty huge trade package to offer. So if the Jazz did want to make a move and somebody suddenly becomes available, they will have that flexibility.
Ben, the rookies, obviously there are things that rookies have problems with, and there's usually a handful of them that are all kind of the same. What are those things that you look at and you go, that's a rookie mistake? Those are rookie things. And then what are the things that Taylor Hendricks has to work on compared to the usual rookie pitfalls?
Yeah, I mean, right now he just catches the ball, and I think he panics, and so he just shoots the ball, which is basically the worst thing you can do. And it's a little bit like, we all have young kids, and we've watched them all play junior jazz, and it's like they catch the ball, and the first thing they do is look at the hoop, and it doesn't matter where they are. They're just going to throw it as far as they can towards the basket.
That three last night that went off the backboard, I went, oh, boy, he was not ready to shoot that, but he shot it anyway.
He was just like, well, I'm supposed to do something, and it's moving so quickly, I have to do something, which,
right.
They preach a half-second decision in the NBA. Like, catch it, you either got to shoot, pass, or dribble. And so, I think by default, he's wide open. He's like, oh, they've accidentally left me wide open without realizing it's not an accident. They're purposely not guarding you because they don't think you can make that shot. And he only shot 1 of 6 from downtown. So that's a good bet for opposing teams. He just needs to catch it. And because nobody's crowding him, it's not like they're going to steal the ball from him. He actually has a chance to stop, look around, survey, have somebody else come and pick up the ball from him. So those are the issues for him. And then, he's got to work hard defensively. He's got to use his physical tools to his advantage. And I think he can actually be an advantageous player as soon as this season. He just needs to slow down a little bit. And I totally get it. He hardly played this year. Everyone else is, 50-plus games into the season. He's now into his, 16th game or something like that. He's still so raw and so young. It's just going to take a lot of reps. And look, if the Jazz had played him since game 1, this is not what he would look like at game 50. He would look a lot better. But the Jazz also didn't want to be, 15 and 35 at this point. They wanted to be around 500 and still kind of have some of these important games to play to see if they do want to make the play-in tournament. And I think that will actually benefit him that they're on a team that has some competitiveness to it. So it's just got to slow down for him, and it will. But the physical tools you see, when the shot does go in, it's very smooth. He had a couple of shots attacking the basket that, I didn't know if he had coming out of Central Florida. And then his athletic tools of jumping up and grabbing rebounds and having the strength he already has at 19 or 20 years old is pretty impressive.
Ben Anderson, you can hear him every day on Jake and Ben, 10 to noon. They'll be at the RV show tomorrow where we are today. You can also download sign up for if you've not done it yet. This is kind of the thing that hits your mailbox, and then you read it, and you're suddenly smarter about the Utah Jazz. It's the Jazz Notes newsletter that Ben and Chandler Holt and the KSL Sports team put together, and it's really good. You got to get it. Sign up for it. Let's get it going. Ben, thanks for joining us as usual. We appreciate it, man.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you.
There you go. There's Ben Anderson, everybody.
Yeah, gets more on what the current state of the Jazz is. Don't defend well, playing a lot of young players, and
young players don't do a lot of things well.
It's just how it is, right? I mean, we were all new in this business, and we made mistakes. You know what I mean? Like, young players in the NBA are going to make mistakes, but they're going to learn from it, and it's just part of the process. And you're playing teams like the Warriors and the Lakers that don't have a lot of young players, so you see the difference.
Man. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We're going to chat with Brett from Paris RV here coming up in just a couple minutes. We're at the RV show. It is at the Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy. All you have to do is come down. If you've got your kids with you, they get in free if they're below the age of 12 and under. And
come see us. We have candy.
Come see us. We do have the candy, and we have the good candy still. Sean, is this the last of it? Or are we gonna? Oh boy!
Oh, don't wait. Well,
the buff. You know when you go.
It's going to go as fast as that Rodney Hood bobblehead went last week.
You know when you go to the pizza buffet.
Yeah.
And you're like, is this all you have is the veggie pizza? And then they're all, yeah, we're waiting on everything else to come out of the oven. Or they go, we're not putting any more pizzas out. You go, well, that's us right now with this chocolate, although our chocolate is way better than the veggie pizzas. So there you go.
No doubt.
Let's get it going. Come down, see us at the RV show. We'll come back around the corner. We've got our Would You Rather, so stay right here with us, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody. Real-life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
Welcome back. It is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Curie, Jeremiah Jensen, JJ and Alex every afternoon right here, 3 to 7 on your dial. By the way, we've been preaching it for the last couple weeks here, and today's the day. Next hour, we're going to read our Hercules Hero of the Week, brought to you by Hercules Credit Union. Nominate the youth sports volunteer that you know and love, somebody who's going the extra mile to make sure that the youth sports in your area are awesome. I don't care if it's the mom who's packing everybody on the team in their minivan, and she does it every year, and she's phenomenal. I don't care if it's that volunteer assistant coach that is, just making that difference, a little bit extra difference in the life of the kids. If it's the high school golf coach, whatever it might be, anybody who makes an impact on the lives of these youth, we want to make sure we hear about them. You can nominate them, kslsports.com/contests. That's kslsports.com/contests. And every Thursday we're going to roll out who the winner is. Today we've got one. We'll read it next hour. And they'll win $50 courtesy of Hercules Credit Union on a nice little Visa gift card there. JJ, you're ineligible. Plus, you don't do anything for youth sports. Come on.
Not a thing.
Except for pay into it, just like the rest of us.
Except spend every Friday night calling high school football games during the fall.
Oh, okay. Nominate JJ, everybody. He goes above.
I don't need to be nominated.
He goes above and
I
beyond.
love doing that.
Can you believe it?
Fun.
No, I'm just saying, like.
But no, I don't actually.
We're all the ones who.
I'm not out there grinding with all the other people, so
no.
it's awesome that we're giving them the attention they deserve because there's so many in this community. The reason why we have so many professional football players from Utah is because of the people at the grassroots level that lead these organizations, or to even the rec league, whoever it is. Like, there's so many options for kids in sports these days. So we got to give love to these people, and that's why we're doing this.
All right, listen, we're at the RV show, which means that I have an RV. Would you rather? You ready?
I'm ready.
Would you rather live in an RV, right?
Yeah.
Just putting across the country. Or we were just at the boat show also.
Yes, we were.
Or live on a houseboat.
Now, the houseboat sounds amazing and cool, living out on the water. But you know what? I could take that RV to the beach. I can take that RV to the lake.
That's a good point.
I'm going RV all the way.
You'd feel like you were.
It's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah. All right. So the RV.
I answered that definitively.
I know.
I didn't waver.
Here's the thing: is I am actually way more familiar with driving RVs than I am with a houseboat.
Right.
So I feel comfortable in that world as opposed to going out there and I don't know, breaking something, blowing something up on the boat.
And we've seen that.
Yes.
Even recently. So
yes, we have.
That would be a nightmare.
Okay. Would you rather beat Steph Curry in the 3-point contest at the All-Star game, or at the All-Star weekend, or beat Mac McClung at the dunk contest? Now, the dunk contest has its prestige. Think about the winners, the past winners of the dunk contest. But if you win the 3-point, if you beat Mac McClung at the dunk contest, who's in it again this year, by the way?
Right.
Very different from beating Steph Curry on the 3-point line. I don't know. Maybe you tell me which one you'd rather do.
Beating the greatest shooter of all time in a 3-point contest would be great for the ego.
Oh, yeah.
But to have the ability to be so good at dunking that you could win the NBA Slam Dunk contest, I think I would go there just because of the thrill of being able to do such a thing.
Yeah.
I've made a 3-pointer before. I've never thrown down a 360 in front of a crowd before. I wish I could do that.
You know, normally I would say that there's no wrong answers here, but you got the absolute wrong answer.
Okay.
Beating Steph Curry at the 3-point contest
Let's hope Sabrina Ionescu can do it.
is the absolute only important thing that can happen. That's the one that I want.
You're wrong again, Alex.
All right, fine. We're at the boat show. The boat show. I just said boat show because I have it in front of me. We're at the RV show.
Yes.
They are not boats. They are RVs. And Brett's joining us here from Paris RV. Hey, we get to hear these Paris RV ads on our station all the time, Brett. So
yeah, we appreciate you.
Roll it out here, man. What's so? I know about the dealer incentives and things like that. You typically get at the show, but what's something somebody can come in this weekend and they won't get that at the normal dealership?
I think probably just the view of all of these vehicles under one roof, plugged in, clean, ready to look at. You know, if you come to one of my stores, I've got 4 locations. If you come to one of those, you're only going to see the brands that I carry. You come to the Expo Center, and you're going to see, 7 or 8 major dealers from the Salt Lake area, and they've all got their very best units in here, plugged in, lights on, and you can just go from vehicle to vehicle and check them all out.
You don't have to clear the snow off of these this weekend, which is nice.
Yeah, no snow.
I saw that sigh that you just had. That's
nice
part of the
dry,
deal that you guys have to deal with.
Warm, no rain.
Yeah.
It's a great environment. It's a great place to come down, see all the different types, bring your family, make a night of it.
Yeah. When listeners come down here, you're ready to let them tour one of your units. What's that one thing you're like, come here, you've got to see this? What is it you bring up?
You know, I have 74 vehicles in this
74.
I have 74 here today.
Wow.
So I've got a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
But the things that kind of jump out at me, I've got these Dynamax Super Cs, which are pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a big wow. I mean, you know, you look at them, they've got big wheels and tires, blackout package.
Oh.
You know, they're sitting on a Freightliner chassis. They're just super cool.
Yeah.
But I've got things like you mentioned the mom with the minivan. I've got tent trailers and you think, oh, tent trailer, that sounds kind of boring. But, you know, one with big wheels and tires and a shower and a toilet and a slide out, sleeps 7, goes behind a minivan, is a great little trailer that you can take your family out and have a good time. And, you know, if you have an RV, You can leave it ready to roll on the side of your house, whether it be a travel trailer, a toy hauler, a fifth wheel. It doesn't really matter. But what it does mean, if you have something like that, you've got a vacation every single weekend if you choose to do it.
Wow. I try to preach the gospel of the RV all the time because I'm like, listen, if you get in it and you have that moment with your family, because the memories you make. I mean, I've taken trips up to Seattle to see my parents in the RV. We've done the Disneyland thing in the RV. By the way, that's a hack.
I've done it myself.
You do that.
It is a blast.
They have RV parking, by the way, at Disney. That's just specific for RVs.
That is the way.
And when you go, look, we got a couple hours here. We got little kids. Let's go do the nap in the RV for them. Make some sandwiches. Get some food. You get the recharge, and then you head back into the parks again. That is, I'm telling you, it is a hack that you got to experience, and you don't have to worry about getting there and then running back to the parking lot with your minivan or anything. So that's one of those things I try to tell people about. If the memories are the biggest part about this too.
The memories are huge. You get 18 years with your kids, right?
Yeah.
So you got to make the most of it. A family that plays together stays together, right? We've all heard that saying. And I look at it and go, let's say you just don't have a lot of time to go outside the area. We're super lucky in Utah. We've got 44 state parks. We've got 12 federal parks. You could spend the next decade hitting our 56 parks. And think about that. And the beautiful thing about these parks is it's super fun for the family. The kids love it. At the same time, it's really educational. They don't realize that they're learning things, but they are. So having an RV is the easiest way to do it. You can go spot to spot, no problem. Leave all your stuff packed in there. You're not coming in and out of a hotel room. You're right. You can eat in the RV, so you're not spending money out at a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
It really is a super nice way to travel. You can go all 12 months of the year, and it's just a ton of fun for your family. And this is really the very best place to kind of come and see everything at one spot under one roof. It's the biggest buying event of the year and the biggest show of the year.
Let's go. There's no Brett just gave you no excuses. You got to come down. You got to check it out. Paris RV, 4 locations across the state of Utah, but come down this weekend and see all the units they have. There are always deals to be had. There are thousands and tens of thousands of dollars off these units, so you might as well take advantage. Brett, thanks for hanging out, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks,
That's great,
guys.
Brett. Thank you.
We'll take a break. We'll come back. Stevenson Sylvester, Sly's going to jump on and give us his thoughts of that Super Bowl, plus much more. So stay right here with us, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back. It is JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Keary, Jeremiah Jensen, JJ and Alex is the duo here. Ooh, see, here's why you come to this stuff. Look at this. They have like the luxury. Is this the thing? It's like a luxury outdoor seat.
Yeah. Called Wolf Traders.
And it's like the most. I sat on one during the break. Very comfortable.
I'm afraid to go over there and sit on one because I won't come back.
The problem is they'll go, hey, normally they're this much, and you can get them for half of that today. And then
See
you're
that
like,
dad just sit in one?
I know. And his daughter's like, let's keep walking. He's like, no.
I saw all the anxiety leave your body all at once.
So, I
Thank you.
appreciate that.
Appreciate you.
Nice listener who just passing by.
Yeah, kids want candy?
Oh, let's give them some candy. By the way, you can come down, grab some candy. Let me see here. Oh, we got Sly on the program here with us, and that means we're kicking off the hours we always do. Let's jump into the cut at the top of the hour here. Let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Our show, as always, brought to you by G2G Bars, all natural ingredients, no preservatives. The G2G Bar is perfect for anybody who needs a quick, tasty, nutritious boost. Stevenson Sylvester, you hear him on our show quite often. You also hear him with JJ and see him on the Game Night Live broadcasts every year. And you see him also doing a ton of stuff now, content-wise, for the Utah 360 app. So Sly doing it all this time of year. Welcome to the program, Sly. Thanks for being with us.
Gents, how we doing?
Oh, we're making it.
We're hanging out at the RV show wishing we had a lot of money.
I know. That's the way to do it.
That's my retirement plan, by the way. I told my wife this before we even started dating. I'm like, look, I want an RV and I want to tour the country when I'm in my 50s. That's it. She's like, all right, it's a long way from there, but I'm getting closer to my 50s, so she better not back down now.
Well, she assumed it wasn't going to get that serious. She's like, yeah, sure. Yeah, whatever you want.
Yeah, Sly, you're assuming a lot of things, Sly, that this is going to last until you're 50.
Well, not just that. Like, you said that when you started dating, and she was like, yeah, sure, whatever you want. It's cool.
No, you keep the RV thing to yourself until you're married. That's a deal breaker. Don't bring that up.
The day of the nuptials, she's like, hey, listen, you weren't serious about that RV stuff that you're talking about. Come on, man. All right. Well, listen. We haven't been able to talk to you since or at least I haven't been able to talk to you since the Super Bowl, and it was jam-packed, full of a lot of storylines, not the least of which was the overtime rules that everyone may or may not have known. I want to know what they actually sit down and – I mean, obviously, maybe it was different for you when you were on the Steelers and going into a Super Bowl. Do they revamp and go, hey, we're sitting down and talking about overtime rules again, you guys, because you got to be up to date on them so that you make sure you know what's going on? Or is it one of those things that you could really see players go, I wasn't totally aware of what was going on, especially this year because they changed it a little bit?
Definitely. I'm siding with the players on all this, and even from the Kansas City and the San Francisco side. I understand exactly what they're talking about. You guys understand, there's so many things you have to cover, so many checklists that you have to check the box on to make sure you've got that done, especially during the Super Bowl and the timing and all of that, let alone an overtime that hasn't happened since the rules were implemented. You know, nobody understood that because it's like, okay, it was said, but there was literally been no game to coach that on since that Chiefs-Bills game a few years ago. And so it's very hard for somebody to be like, I understood that. But, of course, the Chiefs understood it because they were the reason why the rule changed. So, yeah, they were up on it and understood that was a part of the checklist and understanding of how to handle it because they were a part of the reason why, you know, the rule changed. As far as other teams who just haven't been even in position to be even close to being in overtime, it's so easy to understand how that was overlooked. I honestly didn't know how to handle it. If I could be honest, when it was Tony Romo and Fowler, I forgot who he was calling the game with.
Jim Nantz.
But when they were going over it, Jim Nantz, when they were going over it, I'm like, oh, do we defer? I was actually confused at the moment. I wasn't sure. But normally, traditionally, from the last 30, 40 years, if you go into overtime, you want to take the ball first, go down and score, get in position to where it's not a thing anymore. And that's just not the case. And so I definitely understand the confusion, and I would have been there too. But there's just so many things that you have to cover, and this, I don't think anybody was expecting it. I mean, I took it 20-17 was my score, and that was regulation, and it just went into overtime, something that they didn't expect.
You know, Sly, my thoughts after the Super Bowl now are with an appreciation for the dominance of the Kansas City Chiefs, winning 3 Super Bowls in 5 years, and not understanding how it's going to stop because Patrick Mahomes is 28. I know they've got some older guys, some veterans they got to figure out, Chris Jones, et cetera, but they also got some young players that are good. Andy Reid's not going anywhere. Who's going to beat this Chiefs team? How is this dynasty going to be put to an end? Only Tom Brady and 1 year with the Bengals. That's all that's been able to stop this team over the last 5 years. Who out there, what franchise is in the best position to challenge them moving forward and take them down?
Yeah, I mean, JJ, you're right. That's such a great question because it's like, how do you stop that? You got your player at the QB position, which is what you want, right? Seeing all those years the Patriots were good, it was because they had a great QB. From all of the receivers that came through there in New England to how it ended, one thing that was consistent was a quarterback, you know, and that's why they went to the ship all those years. Same thing in Pittsburgh. You know, the reasons why we were contenders every year because we had one guy at the helm for 17-plus years. In Ben Roethlisberger, right? And so when Patrick Mahomes is 28, been to 4 Super Bowls, winning 3 of them in the span of 5 years, like How do you slow that down? That's a good question because, I mean, Travis Kelce can't do it, forever. He's starting to go down to the latter parts of his career. But you got guys like Brock Bowers, Brant Keefe coming out that could fill that void. The tight end position is somebody who could do those things that Travis Kelce can do. So that position can be fulfilled. Of course, they had 0 receivers, so if they get any kind of receivers in the draft these couple of years, that's going to be great. Offensive linemen are interchangeable. They've been rotating backs these last 5 years, but Patrick Mahomes has still been there consistent. So yeah, I agree with you. And they got a very young defense. They were the number 2 defense in the league. That defense is extremely young. How are you going to stop this attack? Andy Reid says, I'm not even close to getting close to retirement. When you got those pieces in place, man, you can only see greener pastures ahead, man. So that's awesome to know that the Kansas City Chiefs will create a dynasty that I don't think will be matched for years to come.
I mean, is it the Lions? Do the 49ers continue to make another run? Do you think there's one team with that quarterback set that is in a position to challenge them? Any team come to mind?
No, I mean, honestly, you would have thought the Buffalo Bills can, but they just can't get over the hump. You would have thought the Ravens can. They just can't get past them. Nobody can beat this guy. Brock Purdy, he's got his experience. I love how young he is, and he's going to have another crack at it. Jalen Hurts got to get out of his own way out there in Philadelphia. But no, you really don't see anybody who can consistently compete and beat a guy like Patrick Mahomes time and time again. Like, he's proven. Like, this was the year for all of Josh Allen, Tua Tagovailoa, Lamar Jackson, Brock Purdy to end Patrick Mahomes' reign. And you see how he took over in that fourth quarter in overtime and just knew that he's not going anywhere. And then in the parade to show you what a athletic body really looks like, with his shirt off out there looking like Will Ferrell in Blades of Glory, peak physical condition. This guy he's living it, and he's loving it, and he's 28, as you said, and he's not going anywhere, man. So expect the Chiefs to be on top. Even if they don't win it next year, they will be in it for the next 10 years to come because he's so young. I mean, Tom Brady retired at 45. They've adjusted all of these rules to make sure that these quarterbacks live on forever. If he's 28, that's 17 more years that he could play, essentially, to be freaking Tom Brady. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So
I don't like that prognostication at all. That's not one. That's not
good news for Broncos fans. I'll tell you that.
I was going to say JJ's the more upset about this. Sly, let me ask about. Let's move over to the to these local players who got the invite to the combine. Cole Bishop, Sione Vaki, Keaton Bills, Jonah Ellis, Sato Lamea, also on that list, of course. Those are the University of Utah guys. So tell us that time frame between getting the invite, how that invite comes, and like when these guys get the invite and where you're at, obviously, on this. I guess I left Devon Bailey off of this list too, but tell me about the guys who are trying to figure this thing out right now. They got their agents dialed in. Where's their life right now?
Well, it's all about kind of projections right now, and how there's some guys who can do all the workouts, some guys who can't. Honestly, for a lot of guys, you want to take every single advantage or every single opportunity to impress people. You never know who's going to be that person that's over the top about you. You never know who's going to be that scout that's looking at you. As I said, I when the Steelers drafted me, I had no idea they were even looking at me. I didn't talk to them at all. Not one interview, not one phone call, not until draft day when Mike Tomlin called me did I know that they were even interested in me. So you never know who you can impress. So don't ever take an opportunity lightly. If you got these scouts and everybody at an opportunity to get in front of them, to talk to them, you got to take it. So, and honestly, I didn't even know I was invited to the combine till like a week or two before the combine because my agent dropped the ball and missed the email or something. Back when technology isn't as great as it was now. I did my invite to the combine got lost in the mail or something like that, so I didn't even know until like 2 weeks before. I'm like, oh, I got to get ready for this thing. And so the mindset wise, I would say like these guys are just like, I just need to be as healthy as possible. Main thing with this is I need to run a very fast time because that's what everybody talks about. is this 40? How can I run? Like Braden Daniels last year, he did a great job of running a 40. I think these guys just need to do that, just run a really good time, do a really good at one of the events, whether that's bench press, whether that's the position drills, whether that's the 40, whether that's the broad jump, the vertical, whatever it is, you want to shine at something where they're saying your name, right? And I think that, just take advantage of this opportunity to get out in front of people. And so proud of those guys for being a part of that. And it just shows Utah's being on the map, right? I think consistently every year we're getting 4 to 6 guys in the combine. And that's an amazing thing, man. So I love that from where we used to be, where we weren't getting anybody in the combine, maybe one guy. But to now where we're getting consistent 4 to 6 guys at the combine at a time is absolutely awesome.
And the NFL Combine invites a pretty good indication that you're going to get drafted or have a very good likelihood of getting drafted. And if it's 6 guys for the Utes, that's great for the program and great for these guys. Of those 6 names, who do you think is going to get taken first?
Oh, man. Honestly, I don't know, because it's all about which team needs and where they sit in the draft, because the draft moves so many times with trades. I feel like every year they set a new record for the trades in the draft, right? People trading up, trading down, trading side to side. But you have no idea. But honestly, depending on team needs and where the NFL is and what they're needing, I would have to say it'd be Jonah Ellis. Jonah Ellis has been killing it. He's a guy that can develop into a 3-4 outside linebacker. And literally, if you want to take it, look at Koamisi as his comp, right? His comparable is Koamisi. Koamisi played defensive end, but where did he play in Miami? He played middle linebacker in Miami. And so I think that's where Jonah Ellis lives. Caden Ellis in Atlanta, he's over there playing middle linebacker, so that's a good indicator. He's got a good pedigree. He's son of Luther Ellis. And so you can move around a lot of things, and he's already at the weight to play linebacker. So I'd say he's definitely an outside linebacker to middle linebacker, depending on the scheme. So I would say, and he was in lead in the nation for a good majority of the season in sacks, so he can rush the passer. He's got a motor out of this world. And then you can just invest a lot of it. Great kid, great person to be an advocate for your franchise. I would say it'd have to be Jonah Ellis, because I think defensive players, being as athletic as he is at a premium. And then secondly, the versatility of Sione Vaki, right? I just that is I think that people are salivating at what they can do. Because not only is he playing running back, he's playing slot receivers, he's playing safety, he's playing special teams. He could do everything. So I would say those 2 would be at the top of my board coming into this draft.
Do you remember your 40 time? I've got it in front of me.
It's a chance to brag.
No, I don't. Because those 40 times are stupid.
I thought you said they were important.
You said 4.7, and all of a sudden you said they're stupid.
They're important if you can run a good time. If you can run a good time and just make an impression, we're like, oh, that guy's fast, get somebody's attention. That's why it's important. Yeah. As far as what it does in football, I don't feel like it's important that way.
Yeah, but you know what? Sly's hand size, elite. over 10 inches. Oh. If you have over 10 inches on the old hand
10
size,
and a quarter, baby.
Oh, there you go.
don't shortchange him.
You find out when you shake Sly's hand that it's not fake.
No, that's a real hand.
It's a real big hand. Sly, we appreciate it, man. We always love having you come on. He's no Chubbs with the no hand.
Rest in peace, Chubbs.
Sly, we appreciate it, man, and we'll talk to you again. We'll have you on again, of course, as usual. So thanks for hanging out with us.
You're the man. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Sly.
There you go. Stevenson Sylvester.
Don't touch that dial!
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back. It is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Keary, Jeremiah Jensen, JJ and Alex, the show from 3 to 7 right here on your dial every day. At the very least, we will talk about stuff that people are talking about. But every so often we get to roll out a lot of stuff that is developing, of course, here in the state of Utah when it comes to the possibility of adding another major league sports team of some kind,
Not
another
one.
major sport. Yes.
Not one, but two.
Baseball, of course, is one of those that I think we looked at as being a little bit further down the line, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be something that's further down the line for us to anticipate. By the way, we're at the RV show. Did I mention that? RV show is here in Sandy at the Mountain Mega Expo Center. JJ and I are both here. Sean is here. Zach Wilson is also here.
Yes, he is.
Now, here's a good way to get Zach Wilson to turn a quick heel on you. Be a radio station within a sports radio station in any place, in any market, within 20 feet of him.
I can understand right now why Zach is a little media shy.
That's fine.
Totally.
Look, and it's not his fault. The reality is it's a crap franchise. The problem is that he would – here's the thing, too. Here's how much I think Zach Wilson's grown up. Because he walked into the RV right in front of us here, and there are two ways. He went in the RV one way and saw us and then went out the opposite direction because he did not want to he knew Sean was going to pounce on him. So, but I was thinking to myself, you know what? Part of the thing is that he's not going to trash talk his franchise.
No.
Now, that's even after his franchise, even after the owner of his franchise trashed him.
Right.
And so
he's got to get out of there.
Everybody talks about, like, oh, he's got to grow up. I'm like, he's
No,
the mature guy in the room,
he
by
needs
the way.
to get out of there.
He's the mature guy in the room.
He'll thrive somewhere else in the right organization. He will.
It's fine. But either way, he's in the market for an RV. So there you go. Did you?
Maybe that tells you something.
My favorite was then
you don't really need an RV in New York City.
One person,
even in Jersey.
Oh yeah, no. So Cleveland, is that what you're saying? Probably.
He wants to go park it by the lake. The mistake by the lake? No, I don't think Cleveland's the place.
I think that if you now
they owe Deshaun Watson way too much
if
money.
you play in Cincinnati, the majority of those players live in like the posh suburbs that are actually in Kentucky. Yes. So you have some open space.
There's places out there, Denver.
But maybe what you do is you pack up the RV with all your stuff and you drive it across the country.
That's a great idea.
That could also be the thing.
If you're an NFL player, that'd be great.
Maybe that's the move. Maybe that's the move of why he's here today.
Maybe.
Hey, coming out of the RV shows where Zach Wilson's buying an RV to make sure to get his stuff out of New York as soon as possible. So that's a real thing, by the way. He's actually here at the show.
He is here.
My favorite was one guy took a picture with him, and then people don't care. Because most people wouldn't have recognized him, I don't think. It's just a guy walking around with a hat on.
I hope that's how the people treat him. Leave him alone,
me too.
Let him
but then people just go,
see RVs.
oh, somebody wants a picture of the guy? I want a picture too. Hi.
Yeah.
What was your name
Then
again?
people start figuring it out.
That's
the guy in the vest and the hat is somebody famous.
That's what you get when you're with JJ, by the way, for long enough. Can I get a picture with you? And then I'll take it for you guys. It's fine.
That's never happened. And never will happen.
If you guys want a picture with JJ, I'll take the picture.
I'm just glad people don't walk up
fine.
and yell at me and tell me what they really think about me.
Just wait.
I'm always worried I'm going to go to a restaurant with my kids and be like, hey,
you're new to this gig.
You're Jeremy Johnson from KSL. You suck.
Hey, aren't you on Channel 2? I hate you.
Gosh. That's that doofus on Talking Sports.
See? That's exactly right. They will mix up all the brands. All right. So let's roll out this whole idea. Before we do, though, it's that time of the week for us to be able to roll out our Hercules Credit Union Hero of the Week. We have a winner for this week. His name is Dallin Adams. Dallin Adams is the Hercules Credit Union Hero of the Week. Dallin is a great coach who volunteers any opportunity that he has in any sport. Coaches football. He currently is coaching, this is what I love, the first grade boys basketball team in Far West. See, this is the person I'm talking about.
This is what we're looking for.
Yes. And it could be anywhere from all the way up to the top, all the way down to the bottom of youth sports. It doesn't matter. He takes the time not only to instruct kids on the facets of the game, but help them progress and succeed, but helps them also find the fun in the game, and they want to continue to play afterward. Dallin is quick to point out the positives and commend the kids on their effort, and then help them see what they can improve. A great mentor for the kids, and that's why we're honoring Dallin. He was nominated by a friend, and you can do the same for somebody in your circle of great youth sports influencers around you. and they can be the Hercules Credit Union Hero of the Week. And they get a $50 gift card. Dallon's going to get himself a $50 gift card courtesy of Hercules Credit Union. There you go. That's why we do these, right?
Yep.
All right. So let's chat a little bit because it seems like week on week we see millions of dollars that are being pledged by the LHM company and by the Family Foundation even. This week we're talking about a different number, and that is in the billions of dollars range. JJ, please help us understand what the most recent significant boost to the development of not just a possibility of getting a Major League Baseball team, but also improving the actual city where that team will be residing at some point.
LHM Company is not messing around. They are serious. Steve Starks and the whole group have done a tremendous job. The Larry H. Miller Company unveiled renderings today for the Power District site, which the company called a transformational investment and catalytic development in Utah's capital city. The plan includes at least $3.5 billion from the LHM Company to develop the approximately 100-acre site in the heart of Salt Lake City's west side, which sits next to the Utah State Fair Park and the Jordan River. The Power District would include mixed-use development, innovative residential options, green spaces and trails, and beautified Jordan River Walk, and most importantly for what we're talking about, a Major League Baseball stadium.
Yeah,
and it looks amazing.
I mean, I was looking at the rendering, and I went, oh, there's the baseball stadium. I didn't see it.
That's a lot of acres. 100 acres is a lot.
You don't
need 100 acres
So
for a
what they're
baseball
doing,
stadium.
and the rendering's beautiful, and the rendering has it looking from the west to the east, so you see the mountains in the background.
Perfect.
I think I see Broadcast House. Can we watch the games on the roof of Broadcast House? Do you think we'd be able to catch a couple of innings up there?
Why not?
A little bit far.
You definitely see the fireworks show.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. But
you know what, though? Alex,
just
I have to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned.
Why?
The stadium doesn't have a gondola like Portland.
Oh, how else are they going to be able to get up to the upper decks or whatever they're going to use the gondola for?
Come on, Portland.
Portland's all, I don't know, put something on it, makes it look cool.
It's your turn now.
How about this, boss?
I love how Portland.
A gondola on a stadium.
It's no coincidence, I don't think, that Portland released the rendering of their stadium that they don't even have land for yet. What was it, 2 weeks ago?
It was 2 weeks ago,
And then, boom, LHM Company has this?
But this is my favorite, too.
If you're Major League Baseball and you're being presented two different ideas,
right?
How do you take the Portland one over Salt Lake City, what we're offering?
No, I'll give you a little peek behind the curtain. So my kid got the contract for the Portland job. He drew it on his paper on a church program.
Microsoft Paint?
He drew it on a church program while he was bored. And that's how they got the gondola idea.
From
my kid. Yeah.
Okay.
So there you go. No, it's beautiful. And look, we don't have to despair. We don't have to disparage Portland as more than we need to. But
it's easy.
I know it is easy.
Low-hanging fruit.
But we were talking about this because they aren't. When they talk about the site being shovel-ready, the stadium being built is kind of the least of their concerns right now. What's happening is you read off all the things that they're trying to develop. This is a major commitment. I mean, obviously the $3.5 billion should tell you that it's major. Baseball stadiums do not cost $3.5 billion, by the way.
Right.
So they're putting billions of dollars into this area. And everybody knows what type of improvement that needs to happen along the Jordan River Parkway,
It's a
trail.
Prime location, prime real estate that unfortunately has become run down.
Yes.
And it's awesome that somebody's doing something about it.
It will change.
Absolutely.
It will change the city.
Yes.
It's not just going to change this part of the city. It will change the city. I don't think I'm being, I don't think I'm using any kind of, over the top verbiage here. I usually am all for being over the top, but this speaks for itself. And the commitment that the LHM company has to this is just insane. So when they say it's shovel-ready, it's not just the stadium. It's everything else around it, and it's frankly going to be the thing that gets it's going to change the city. And so you should be excited. If you are a resident of the state of Utah, if you're somebody who loves your capital city as well, it's pretty awesome.
And they're starting the project this year. They're not waiting for the expansion franchise.
Right.
This is not just about baseball. So they're starting the whole project later this year. Once they do build the baseball stadium, they're looking at between 30 and 35,000 seats, which I think is perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
And we will fill it. And by the way,
Yes.
by 2030, isn't there supposed to be 3.5 billion people who live here? So
It feels like it. That's just in Vineyard down in Utah County.
that's what I'm saying. We should get this thing going. I mean, at the rates that we've seen,
Serious.
at the rates that my family is at least contributing to the deal. So, all right, we'll take a break here. We'll come back. We've got more to go around the corner, and when we continue, let's jump in here. A little conversation. This will be a fun one because over the weekend, over the Super Bowl weekend, Keegan-Michael Key of Key and Peele fame, of course, told the history of the name sketch, not just for Aaron and. I think it's Mr. Garvey who's the substitute.
Yes, Mr. Garvey.
Mr. Garvey was born out of Quattro Quattro, out of the East-West Shrine Game sketch that they did, and where Dan Smith came from BYU out of thin air. So we'll talk about that. More to go around the corner. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Gentlemen, the biggest name.
You're locked into JJ and Alex, with the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. Presented by G2G Bars. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome to the annual East-West Bowl as we get ready to watch some of the best college players in the nation.
Ibrahim Moises, University of Tennessee at Chattanooga.
The Jasper Probencrux III, South Carolina State University. Hingle McCringleberry, Penn State University.
Swarthan L. Goodings Flat, Saskatchewan University.
Sequester Grundleplith, MD, Adams State.
San Diego State University.
Dan Smith, BYU.
Oh, yeah. And because it gets a Dan Smith BYU mention at the end, it's even better. Welcome back. It's JJ and Alex. I'm disappointed we didn't include Donkey Teeth in the
No,
wasn't Donkey Teeth one of them?
Donkey Teeth. Quattro was another favorite.
Yeah.
Le Carpatron Duke Marriott was one of my favorites.
Le Carpatron Duke Marriott is one of the best.
We only had 30 seconds, guys.
I'm just kidding, JJ. Yeah,
well, we could just sit here and watch the whole skit for 8 minutes.
Some of those names last 30 seconds, so I'm glad that we did it.
To Royal Smoochie Wallace.
So here's the deal. The Rich Eisen show was at the Super Bowl, and they actually rolled out kind of the origins of this. And Keegan-Michael Key actually rolled out how Dan Smith entered the chat on this sketch. Here's what he said.
He comes into our office and just sets a script in front of me. And it has Chadinklage Morgoon, La Carpatron Duke Marriott, Jack Marius Tac Theratrix, Quattro. It had all the names in it.
Yeah.
And I think really the only name I added to the script was Dan Smith from BYU.
Which you
had to do Dan Smith from BYU.
That is brilliant, of the name and the school that you would associate Dan Smith
Yeah, exactly. And that's the origin of the sketch.
There you go. What that tells me is that Keegan-Michael Key actually knows way more about college football than he might lead on. Because if you're like, I threw in Dan Smith, BYU, then like you can read the room on a college football sketch.
Yeah, but what the great thing is Jordan Peele doesn't watch sports at all and wasn't even aware of what the intros are and how that all works.
Why they did that.
Yet overnight he shared the
wrote the script.
He showed it to him, and Jordan the next day throws a script on his desk, and Jordan Peele came up with all those names.
Jordan Peele.
Except for Dan Smith
BYU. I love that Keegan-Michael Key, he could have said, yeah, we came up with all these names. And, Jordan Peele wouldn't be like, that's a lie, dude. I wrote all that. Said, he goes, yeah, the only thing I added was Dan Smith BYU. All right, so there you go.
Brilliant.
That was those are the origins there. We're at the RV show, by the way. Bobby is with us from General RV.
Hello there.
General RV, of course, has a special place in our heart because we're there quite often during the year.
Friend of the program.
Yes, Bobby gets to talk with us all the time about this stuff. So I'll just let you do your thing, Bobby. Tell me what the difference of coming to the General RV store that's actually down there at the point of the mountain versus coming into the actual RV show here at Mount America Expo Center, and what the benefits are for a weekend like this for just the average person who wants to buy an RV.
Yeah, great question. So it's an amazing atmosphere with a lot of energy, especially now that we're getting to this warming up season.
Yeah.
The snow is awesome, but yet when the snow breaks, it melts. we get a lot of people that come in looking for RVs. And so what's exciting here is we have a lot of show specials. We have banks that are working with us, lots of inventory that's currently in stock that we are liquidating because we want to get people out enjoying family time and making great memories.
What are some of the deals you guys have running right now?
I mean, there's huge discounts with the manufacturers, and so they're here to help us put deals together that
like
we
thousands and tens and thousands.
Tens of thousands, yeah. If you get into the motorhomes, we're talking about tens and tens of thousands.
Yes.
Almost some 100,000 or so. But it's incredible to see this type of energy and feel it while we're here. And with the incentive programs that the banks are doing with us, there's a lot to give.
I know people get worried about that part where they go, well, I don't know, interest rates and blah, blah, blah. But how are you guys helping people out in that sense, too?
You know, the saying is, you marry the coach, not the interest rate. We can always refinance later because we know the Feds are moving the rates and they're going down and down. And so in a year or two, just refinance it and enjoy what you do now because in the long run, it's all about making the memories.
Okay, awesome. Bobby and General RV, all the way down at the south end of the – is this south? Am I pointing south? Yes. At the south end of the Expo Center here. General RV, of course, tremendous partner of ours throughout the year, and so we really appreciate you guys coming by. This is about the whole show, but you know we have a little special place in our heart for you guys. So
absolutely.
We appreciate it.
We
Bobby,
appreciate you too.
Thanks for stopping by, man.
All right,
we'll talk to you
Thanks,
again.
Bobby.
All right. We'll take the break here. When we return, it'll be JJ taking over. Sam Farnsworth, he's going to hang out, and he'll be back at the studio.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
JJ and Alex rolls on into the 5 o'clock hour live from the RV show at the Mountain America Expo Center. Come down to the RV show, say hello. We've got not a lot of candy left. You better hurry. But more important, come check out the RV show. Deals on the biggest RVs you've ever seen all the way down to other products that you could afford to come out with today. So a lot of opportunities, a lot of deals here, and just a good time. It's a great show to come out here with your family and have a good time. Today's show is brought to you by Trajan Wealth, your local financial fiduciary. Call 801-899-7600 or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. And, of course, JJ and Alex always brought to you by G2G Bars, packed with all kinds of goodness, the perfect snack, and the perfect way to get your protein and your fuel. We got to give away something here. I mentioned the RV show. We want to give away a family 5-pack of tickets to the Utah RV show at the Mountain America Expo Center. The RV show, of course, goes today through Sunday. So we're going to do that right now. Be caller number 12 at 801-575-9663. That's 801-575-9663. Call now. Be caller number 12, and you can win a family 5-pack of tickets to the Utah RV show at the Mountain America Expo Center. Alex is left the building. He's on his way to the Delta Center, or is it Delta Center? I apologize. I said the. That won't happen again. And so Alex Keary's on his way. He's going to do pre-half and post, filling in for Jake Scott tonight with the coach Tim Lacombe. So with Alex gone, we're going to bring in a special guest. It's The Cut right now on JJ and Alex.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And it's a KSL Sports Live takeover here in the 5 o'clock hour. And that special guest is the best-looking anchor on KSL Sports Live.
Stop.
It's Sam Farnsworth. Sam's in studio. I'm here at the RV show.
What's happening? Yes, I'm here. Thanks for letting me crash the party, JJ. This is a first, I believe.
It is the first time.
I don't know if we've been on the radio together before.
First time, not the last time. Trust me.
It's good. I love it.
I'll be texting you about that soon, about filling in here shortly for Alex when he goes on paternity leave. But I don't know. Is it hard to believe that Alex is going on paternity leave again?
My goodness.
How many times does a guy get to go on paternity leave?
Good for him. Good for him.
I won't belabor that point. But Sam, great to spend a few minutes chatting with you. Just feels like We always do. We sit around
Right.
the office and we talk about stuff. And now all of a sudden we get to do it over the air, which is pretty fun and pretty cool.
Sneak peek behind the curtain.
There you go. So we're going to give people a little bit of insight on how we feel about some of these issues going on right now. I want to start with the Jazz post-trade. What are your thoughts on what you're seeing right now with the Jazz? Kind of expected, but at the same time, the reality is setting in that this team is not as competitive as they were a couple weeks ago.
Right. And, so like Justin Zanuck said it last week when he had his media availability after the trades. I believe Will Hardy kind of reiterated last night, it's not going to look very pretty sometimes, right? It's going to get a little sloppy at times because the rebuild process means you've got to, and I think the Jazz are somewhat committed at this point to playing these younger draft picks, getting them a few more reps, a few more minutes on the basketball court. That means more Taylor Hendricks minutes. That means more Bryce Sensabaugh minutes. Of course, they've elevated Keontae George into the starting lineup to see if he can be a potential leader in the backcourt. And, we've seen his abilities and skills that he's shown us ever since Summer League even, and I think they've got a lot of high hopes for him. I think they've got high hopes for all these guys, but the thing is Jazz fans, they want to get back to the playoffs quickly, and they felt like they had a team that would at least get into the play-in, and then once the trade happened, it just feels like there's been kind of a 180. But and me and you, we've talked about this, JJ. I think we both feel that the Jazz front office, they don't really care. They want to get to the playoffs, yes. But Justin Zanuck was very clear on Saturday, I think it was Saturday, whenever it was that he had his media availability last week, when he said that they don't want kind of something hot for a year or two. They want to find that sweet spot where they enter a 5-ish year window where they are championship contenders. To get to a 5-year window, it's going to take a little bit of time. Probably another 2, maybe even 3 seasons before they get to that point.
That's the hard part, Sam, is patience, right?
Yeah,
so
no doubt.
You hear Justin Zanuck talking about short-term pain for long-term gain. We've had David Locke in the program every week, and he talks about how this is about 2028, not 2024. And you're thinking to yourself, 2028? I don't even know if I'm going to be alive in 2028, right? So this is requiring patience, and I think that's the hard part.
Yeah.
And you have nights like last night and Monday night, you're like, patience, yeah, I can be patient, but I don't know how much longer I can take stuff like this where you're just kind of like, this is not what we pay for. This is not what we watch.
I think the hard part, too, is because you still have a very large portion of the Jazz fan base that still feels like the NBA Finals was just a year or two ago, right? We were teenagers when it happened, so we understand. We remember pretty well those Finals runs when they took on the Bulls, and to be so close to tasting that glory, to raising that banner, and to not even really get to that point again ever since is frustrating. And I think a lot of Jazz fans, even though it's been that long, they're tired of waiting. And so when you hear another 4 more years, oh, come on, let's get there already. But for me, if I put my fan hat on for a minute, if it equals 1 banner in the rafters here in the next decade, I can sit back for a couple more years and withstand this rebuilding process.
No question. And we talk about patience. Look, the Jazz have not been to a conference finals since 2007.
A little bit.
That was 17 years ago. So
a little bit.
We could probably handle 4 or 5 years of the process if that's what's required. And I think we all understand what's going on there. So, but again, I just Googled this. The Jazz play Charlotte after the All-Star break, so the schedule eases up a little bit. That will certainly help with things. But you know what would be perfect, Sam, is while we wait for the Jazz to become contenders again, the excitement of getting an NHL team or an MLB team in Utah might help us with that patience process. We just had news today, Big League Utah releasing renderings of a potential stadium down at the power part of the town, and just the whole situation there with the development is exciting. And then you got, maybe the A's come here for 2 or 3 years. Just your thoughts and your excitement about what's developing here specifically with MLB in Utah.
I love what we're seeing from, when we're talking MLB and NHL, from these 2 ownership groups, kind of the power moves that they're making. They're flexing muscle at times that they need to flex muscle. You see Ryan Smith making it public that he wants an expansion team when there was no need for him to do so. There was no announcement that the NHL was even looking at expansion, and they've even reiterated it since. But he made that power move to say, no, I'm ready now. I've got the money. He's keeping Salt Lake relevant in the realm of potentially having an NHL team. I kind of feel similarly today with Big League Utah releasing these renderings, right? What other potential market is releasing the renderings of a big, and I know there's a few others out there that have discussed it, but this is a move that you have to make to show, hey, especially on the heels of the A's potentially staying in Oakland for the remainder of their wait for their stadium in Vegas. But seeing Big League Utah do this and the steps that they continue to take, for me, it's just kind of those little moments of flexing some muscle to show Major League Baseball that not only do we have an ownership group that's ready to build now, not only do we have an ownership group that's ready to spend the billions of dollars that it takes to have a Major League Baseball team here, but you're seeing the reactions on social media. You have a fan base that's invigorated, that's excited, that wants this to happen in the state of Utah. And I just love all these little moves. They just keep Utah relevant. They keep them at the forefront. They keep them on the thought of the commissioner and of the league and of fan bases across the country that, Utah's a serious contender. They came to play for sure.
Bob Nightingale of USA Today reported earlier this week that it's the leaders in the clubhouse, to use a baseball term, is Nashville in the east and Salt Lake City in the west. So let's give Big League Utah credit. Yep. They have certainly got the notice of Major League Baseball. Obviously, they've had conversations with Rob Manfred, and the groundwork has been laid by Big League Utah and the Larry H. Miller Company to make this happen. And this whole development, the Power District, is going to start later this year. They're not going to wait for expansion to come down. They're going to get this started and get this rolling. Of course, we probably are going to wait, Sam, and that's the news coming out. You heard it recently. What are we looking at? How long is it going to take for this expansion to take place? Because obviously Major League Baseball in no hurry.
Right, and from what I believe I read a couple days ago was that by around 2030 is when they would consider expansion, right? And then just today I see the reports out just about an hour or so ago that Rob Manfred is saying that he's going to officially step down as commissioner in 2029. So now I'm sitting there thinking, okay, the commissioner that the LHM group has had communication with, that they've been in talks with, that they've been trying to develop this relationship with, may not be there when Major League Baseball officially decides to expand. What does that mean? So now I've got these extra questions coming up. Okay, if Manfred's going to walk away, does this impact any potential expansion? Does it impact any potential relationship that Major League Baseball has built with Salt Lake City? There's going to be a lot to look at, a lot to consider over the next few years, but I think his decision to step down in the next 5 years might also mean that he's not that worried about making a big expansion move before he steps down from baseball either.
But it does tell me that he might want to announce that and make it happen before he does.
There you go. Make it kind of make it a not a lasting move, but whatever. That.
Hey, legacy matters as a commissioner,
exactly. Right? For sure.
And what better legacy than to bring 2 new franchises into Major League Baseball? So things looking good for Big League Utah and MLB in Utah. Whether the A's are going to be here for 2 or 3 years, that's a different story. I don't know what to make of that, but what happened today is certainly a positive in that direction. All right, let's shift to college football, Sam. There's a lot of way too early polls out there, and everybody has an opinion. I wanted to give you a chance to share your thoughts on how you see things. Now that BYU and Utah are in the same conference, it's exciting. There's a lot of things to look at there, and we become more and more familiar with the conference as the years go on. Now in year 2 with BYU, year 1 for Utah. A lot of new teams in there as well. Some really good teams like Arizona, even Colorado making the moves that they've made. So how do you see it shaking out? What's your way too early prediction for Utah and BYU next season?
I think Utah is going to be pretty good, right? It's just what Kyle Whittingham, you can't bet against Kyle Whittingham. What he has done from when he took over good grief, I'm just totally blanked on Urban Meyer's name. When Coach Witt took over for Urban Meyer and helped lead this team into the Pac-12 era, you saw them go through their bumps and bruises in the early years, but eventually emerging as a perennial contender in a power football conference where he has successfully won the recruiting battles every single year, added to that roster. He turns guys that we've never heard of into stars, and he just knows how to develop talent. He knows how to find talent and to make his teams contenders for conference championships and now that we're going into a 12-team playoff, definitely for playoff spots. So I really like where Utah's at going into the Big 12. I think you'd be silly to overlook them, even though they're a new member going into the Big 12. I look at them as a top 3 team heading into this conference already. I initially, in our way too early projections, had Arizona coming in as the conference favorite. I don't know what difference it makes now that Fish is gone and no longer their head coach, but we'll see how that plays out. But Utah's in a really good situation. For BYU, for me, what I've got to see from BYU is another step in the right direction to building a respectable Power 5 program. Because, like, if you're going to look long term at what we've seen recently with the Big Ten and the SEC kind of building this alliance where college football is eventually heading to its own little league, I don't know if you want to call it a semi-pro league or whatever you want to call it. It's heading to this direction someday. You have to be relevant when it comes down to, okay, these are the teams we're taking. And you look at Utah, the state, and the Salt Lake City market, they may only get to a point, I'm getting way ahead of myself probably, but they might get to a point where they're like, okay, we only want one team from that market. So you've got to be relevant. BYU needs to continue to step forward. They need to become bowl eligible this next year, I think. Even if it's just one more win than last year, 6 wins, gets them that extra game, gets them into bowl eligibility, and they just have to continue to build from there. But they've got to, unfortunately, I think they're going to have to step on the accelerator a little more to build a relevant franchise sooner than later so that they don't get left behind when it comes down to all this college football restructuring, whatever we're going to see over the next decade.
No doubt the pressure to win has never been greater for BYU and for Utah. I think BYU can get to 6-6 this year. I think that'd be a great season for them, a big next step. Maybe more, but you got to be really honest about where they're at right now in that transition. And you got to look at that schedule, Sam.
Yeah,
that schedule's brutal. I think it's probably the most difficult Big 12 schedule of any of the Big 12 teams, where they've got to play all the toughest contenders. Utah benefited from not having to play the Kansas schools this year, not having to go to West Virginia. So it's going to be tough. But BYU, I think 6-6 is that mark, and there's reason to believe they can do it. And I'm with everybody else. I think Utah right now, with everybody coming back, they're the team to beat in the Big 12. And I know BYU fans don't want to hear that, but Brett McMurphy was on our show earlier this week from Action Sports Network, one of the best college football writers in the country. He's got Utah in the college football playoff in a top 4 spot because they win the conference. So it's not just us that's hyping up Utah. It's all around the country, and they've deserved that with the guys they have coming back. I want to hit local college hoops real quick before we get out. You and I, we're not planning on this. I think we're putting a huge dent in the KSL Sports budget this year because we're ready to go cover some March Madness, and I don't think the budget was ready for it because we didn't see this coming, but we're going to do it anyway. We got a lot of teams going. Hopefully Utah can get back in the mix here, get things right this week, and get off the bubble and get back in the mix. But all 3 teams looking good, other than Utah falling a little bit. But obviously BYU and Utah State are right there. Of all the teams, and I'll throw Weber State out there, I think they can go win the Big Sky, even though Eastern Washington's tough this year. It's going to be fun in Boise. Of all the teams on the men's side that are going, who has the best chance to make a deep March run out of all those teams?
Well, when I think of tournament time, when I think of March basketball, I think of a roster that has some depth to it, right? You have to have some star power. That you have to have the guys that'll be able to lead that team. But the roster that has the most depth on it, I just see BYU's roster and what they've been able to generate production-wise off the bench almost on a nightly basis. It seems like there's someone else off the bench scoring 15, 16 points on that roster. What I like about BYU is when they have a healthy Fousseyni Traore, right? Because that guy's a difference maker. For me, he might be the most valuable player on that roster, and he provided them with something we didn't see a whole lot of early in the season, which was more of an inside presence, both on offense and the defensive side of the floor. But when we're talking about making a run, I think BYU's built more to make a run in the tournament. I think Utah State's a team, though, that if they get hot, they're star players, their starting 5, their top 6 guys might be enough to get them into maybe the second or third round of the tournament, the Sweet 16, right? But overall, I think I have to lean towards BYU for the team that's built to possibly make the deepest run in the tournament.
I think BYU is the better team. They have the team with the most depth, the team with the greater ceiling. I agree with you there. What concerns me about BYU is live by the 3, die by the 3, and the lack of really who's their floor leader, who's that guard, the go-to guard.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Dallin Hall can be that guy in the tournament, but we don't know yet. Utah State has a steady point guard in Darius Brown. Great Osabor has already played in an NCAA tournament. So has Darius Brown. And you add all the mix there with Utah State. They don't shoot the 3 as well as I'd like them to, but they have all the makings of a great tournament team. And what's really impressed me, Sam, with Utah State is they've won a lot of road games and neutral site games this year. They've been road warriors, and they had just had a big win last night at Wyoming. That's not an easy place to play. A lot of the best teams in the Mountain West have lost some of those games. The Mountain West has been good enough to battle test them. I think that they can win in March this year. This could be the year that Utah State finally breaks through. Agree that BYU has the higher ceiling. I'm just worried about some of those inconsistencies with BYU when it gets to tournament time. Sam, can you do one more segment with us? Do you want to do some NFL talk?
Let's do it.
All right, we'll get to that here in a moment. We got to take a short break here.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You hear the music. You know what that means. It's time for the NFL Blitz. But, Sam, I'm going to throw a little bit of a curveball here because before we get to the latest NFL headlines from today, and the NFL never sleeps, 365, 24/7. There's always NFL news. There's bigger news we've got to digest and go over, Sam.
Ooh,
I know you're a big fan. Bigger is better. You're a big fan, or we're a big fan, of the NCAA football video game.
Yes.
Back in the day. How many hours did you waste in college on NCAA football?
Have you seen the bags under my eyes? That's where it all began. It all began.
You earned those.
Yes, I earned those playing season after season. I've taken Weber State from an FCS to a Power 5 contender in that game before. I created Utah Valley college football before on that game. I throw out your scenarios. I took Army to a perennial national power once. Hey, I spent way too much time on that video game.
Alabama should have hired you instead of Kalen DeBoer.
Hey, I'll take what they're paying for sure.
Absolutely. So, new video game, new NCAA Football 25 is coming. Your reaction, your thoughts.
I love it. I want it. I am nervous that if I get it,
you're going to lose your job.
Me back at work again.
You're going to show up at like 10:47 on a Sunday night. Like, Sam, where you been? The show started.
I've been breaking down film. Okay.
I'm ready. Who should be on the cover?
Oh, man, who are they going to pay to be on the cover? That was honestly my first thought is whoever's on this cover, are they going to get like 7 figures for being on the cover now? How is this working?
And it's probably going to be a player it's about to go in the NFL. Right? I mean, don't you want Jaden Daniels on that cover?
Yeah, right? Yeah, for sure. And if they're going to try to save money, then they're going to go the mascot route. We'll see what happens with that. But 100%, there's going to be some big NIL whatever agreement reached for whoever's going to be on the cover of that video game.
Yeah, the Heisman Trophy winner would make sense, but I could see them just going with a player that's going to be playing next year, Jalen Milroe, Alabama, because I think they'd love to have that brand on the cover. We will see. All right, let's get to some NFL stuff. This is interesting, Sam. The Patriots quarterback situation apparently was so toxic this year that Bailey Zappi sometimes watched film in the wide receiver room as a rookie. Patriots, It was so toxic that, that's incredible. Can you imagine what it was like last year being in that locker room?
You can't be in the same room as your position teammates, right? And your position coach, because it's that bad. And, I get it at quarterback, you've only got 2, 3, 4 guys in that room. But at the same time, that's not good. That's certainly not good at all. Mac Jones, we've seen him just slide out of favor up there. I'll tell you what, it kind of feels like when I'm reading stories like this and seeing what's happening with the Patriots the past couple years, now Bill Belichick officially leaving, I kind of feel like the Patriots of the 80s have now returned. But they've had so much success at the same time. I'm like, hey, be okay with being irrelevant for the next decade again. It's fine.
Wah. Nobody cares if the Patriots suck. Wah. Nobody feels bad for them.
No.
So enjoy your toxic environment, New England. You deserve it. All right. Geno Smith getting paid with the Seahawks, $12.7 million, fully guaranteed. Do you think Geno Smith can continue to play at a high level, or do you see Drew Lock breaking through there?
Well, that's what I was going to say. They don't have a lot of options there. If it's Geno, it's Drew, and whatever they can come up with, out on the market or maybe in the draft or whatever. But Geno, look, I get it. From a statistics standpoint, from a win-loss standpoint, last year wasn't as good as he was the year before when he was the comeback player of the year. But having experienced the Drew Lock experience in Denver and watching it even on television, whatever, I don't know. Is Drew Lock better than Geno Smith? Maybe he is. I just feel like this is a move because they don't have any better options. And so you got to keep him on the roster. And, yeah, that means paying him $12.5 million.
Yeah, with Pete Carroll out, it just feels like a transition for the Seahawks. They've been great for so long, but I'm not sure where the franchise is going right now. It's going to be interesting to watch that develop. We've got nepotism at its finest. And nepotism is certainly nothing new in the NFL. Antonio Pierce, the new head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, hires his son as an assistant coach? What?
Yeah, I mean, so as I'm seeing that, my very first thought here is like, well, what's his role? Is he hired as an assistant coach to kind of collect a paycheck and maybe just kind of, be his true assistant, right? Hey, I need you to do this for me. I need you to do that. I need you to run this drill, do that drill. I'd be curious to know exactly what role he falls into here on that coaching staff. I'm okay with coaches hiring family. You see it, like you said, it's not necessarily new, but Antonio Pierce is still kind of cutting his teeth as a head coach. Yeah. He still has a lot to prove. So, we'll see. We'll see if this works out for him.
Here's the resume for DeAndre Pierce. Spent last year at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, where he was the defensive coach in 2023. He played under his father in high school at Long Beach Poly and Arizona State when his father was a Sun Devils defensive coordinator from 2020 to 2022. We know how well that went. He played defensive back at Arizona State. So we'll see.
And they hired him as an offensive assistant, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So
we'll
see.
Look, I mean, at least his son's not. I mean, you look at the Patriots and Bill Belichick's sons, who looked like they were in the Tiger King. I mean, at least I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. It's been going on for years in the NFL, and I don't know if it always works out that well. Yep. But when you're a well-known coach and you're the boss, you get to do what you want.
Yep, 100%.
And as a Broncos fan, I'm sure you echo my sentiment. I love the hiring of Antonio Pierce because
100%.
I don't think they're going to win much under his watch.
That's awesome.
Cliff Kingsbury. He's the new offense coordinator at Washington. Feels like they would like to get a shot at Caleb Williams. Don't know if they get up there. Maybe Jaden Daniels is a guy. But the ideal quarterback he wants in Washington is Patrick Mahomes. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, no
Cliff
kidding.
Kingsbury obviously coached Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech.
Yeah, I mean, hey, the Denver Broncos would love Patrick Mahomes too. I mean, who wouldn't, right?
Yeah.
But I get it. That's the style of quarterback he's talking about. Someone who's got the ability to, hang in the pocket, make great decisions and great throws with his arm, but also be able to shake things up and move the chains with his feet, just like we saw Patrick do in the Super Bowl at the end of regulation and in overtime. And Caleb Williams, that would be amazing, right? I think that's the kind of quarterback that probably fits that mold coming into this draft. And shoot, if the Broncos could get into range for him, which they won't, that I would love to have that kind of quarterback too. But in today's game, for sure, that seems like that's the mold. The mold used to be Joe Montana, and then it became like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, and now the mold today of the quarterback that you want to make your quarterback with the Patrick Mahomes mold.
Sam, thanks for coming on the show today. We'll do it again soon.
Awesome.
It's been fun. Tell everybody what they can see tonight at 6 and 10 on KSL.
Yeah, tonight we'll definitely be talking about the Utah Jazz as they look ahead to the Warriors tonight, and then we'll have full coverage coming up at 10. Warriors came in, wee hours of the morning, so we'll see how they hang.
We'll see that goes. You can also watch Sam, KSL Sports Live, 6 p.m. on Saturday, and I'll join him Sunday night at 10:45, so you can look forward to that this weekend. Sam, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, JJ and Alex continues from the RV Show next on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme.
It's game night. Utah Jazz back in action tonight. Their last game before the All-Star break. And they'll be hosting once again the Golden State Warriors. It's, of course, a rescheduled game from a few weeks ago after a game had to be postponed due to the death of Dejan Milojevic, the Warriors assistant coach. That game will be played tonight. The Golden State Warriors back in town. They were here just here Monday, and we know how that went. A 22-point defeat for the Utah Jazz. The Jazz will get another shot at them tonight. The Jazz team that's just, it's tough after an All-Star break, or after a trade deadline, and right before an All-Star break, to really be sharp. It's a tough one tonight because the Warriors are coming into town. The Warriors blew a lead last night against the Los Angeles Clippers. A big game last night for them to kind of see where they were at against one of the best teams in the West, and they came up short. There was a lot of edge last night to that game, especially between Steph and James Harden. They've competed many times over the years, and that same competitive spirit was there last night. I bring that up because while the Warriors are playing second night of a back-to-back here in Utah right before the All-Star break, they are a team in 10th in the West that wants to make the playoffs, especially with that veteran group, and they are doing everything they can to get there. They see a chance to win a game tonight against the Utah Jazz. They're bringing the whole crew. Nobody's sitting out tonight. It's not like last night where LeBron James sat out with nothing, no reason at all other than second night of a back-to-back. Wanted to start an All-Star break early, I guess. The Warriors are bringing everybody. Steph, Draymond, and Clay. And before last night's loss, they'd won 4 games in a row. So the Warriors are playing really well right now. So that's what the Jazz are up against tonight. We'll see how the Jazz respond, bounce back. If you're a Jazz fan, this team isn't winning at the rate you want them to win right now, but we all understand what's going on right now. This franchise is in a rebuild. They're trying to figure some things out. They're trying to get some young guys more playing time, specifically Taylor Hendricks, giving Keontae George a bigger role as a starting point guard. So the Jazz are in a different place than, say, a team like the Warriors that are veteran-laden, former dynasty, a team trying to get into the playoffs and trying to make some noise, a team that really honestly still believes that they can win an NBA championship. And, of course, they do have guys that have done it before. So that's what the Jazz are up against tonight. We'll see how the Jazz do, see how they respond. And the Jazz have some players right now that are playing well. Colin Sexton, I thought, was great last night again. Played aggressive, got to the hoop. There were some moments there at the early part of the third quarter where the game was tight. It looked like the Jazz were in a prime position to win that game, but then things happen and all of a sudden the Lakers go on a run, the game's over. The biggest problem for the Jazz right now has been on the defensive end of the floor. They have not been able to get it done on that end. So we'll see if the defense improves tonight. That's where the Jazz really have to lock in and be better if they have any chance to beat a team like the Warriors, who I mentioned are coming here full strength. They're trying to win a game tonight before the All-Star break and try to solidify their place in the standings. I think they'd like to get up to 6. I don't think that's possible. I think the Warriors and the Lakers are going to have to play in that play-in tournament to get that playoff spot. And it could be that the Lakers are 9 and the Warriors are 10. That's a lot of talent and a lot of championships between guys in a 9-10 situation with a one game and you advance play-in situation. So that I think the NBA would actually really enjoy that and love that if that turns out to be the case. But the Warriors certainly coming in here to win this game tonight. Jazz Warriors, 7 p.m. The pre, half, and post-game show tonight will feature Alex Curie. That's why I'm here all alone at the RV show, setting the stage for those guys to come in and get you ready for that ball game. I'm sure that Mike Smith will join them as well in that first segment. Always good to hear from him as well and his insight, former player and a longtime analyst of the NBA. So you're going to get great insights. They'll get you ready for that game. Last game before the All-Star break. Of course, the Jazz will be well represented in the All-Star break, even though they don't have an All-Star player. Lauri Markkanen will participate Saturday night in the three-point shooting contest. Friday night, you will see the Rising Stars. You will see both the rookie Keontae George and Walker Kessler play in that Rising Stars game. So Jazz Warriors tonight, 7 p.m. Then you can look forward to the All-Star game. That's coming up tonight, 7 o'clock. So we'll turn the things over to Tim Lacombe, the coach, and Alex Curie standing by right now over at Delta Center for your pregame show, Jazz Warriors. You've been listening to JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.